Council President Corman.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember Benedetti.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Here.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Okay, thank you. First up, we have a proclamation for Farmers Market Week.
Okay, proclamation. Whereas farmers markets are essential businesses that connect families to healthy local foods and agricultural products directly from Washington farmers and independent food businesses. And whereas farmers markets attract thousands of shoppers each week and thereby stimulate local farming and downtown business economies with sales through each market day. And whereas farmers markets incubate new farm businesses and young farmers with small budgets to hone their entrepreneurial skills, develop their products, grow a loyal shopper base, and build experience in order to be successful. And whereas farmers markets ensure healthy food is accessible to everyone, especially people receiving nutritional assistance benefits such as women's, infants, and children, WIC, Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program checks, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, benefits, as well as providing SNAP market match programs. And whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, farmers market professionals work closely with health officials and risk managers to provide safe shopping experiences and meet service demands to make community spaces safe and accessible to the public. And whereas the Renton Farmers Market is celebrating its 20th season, open each Tuesday through September from 3 to 7 p.m. in Renton's downtown Gateway Park. And whereas its mission is to promote economic vitality, and City of Renton appreciates farmers market professionals who nurture entrepreneurship and foster successful partnerships with businesses and community leaders. Now therefore I, Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim the week of August 1st through 7th, 2021 to be Farmers Market Week in the City of Renton. I urge all residents to join me in recognizing the many benefits of our local Renton Farmers Market. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this second day of August, 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Corman.
I move that council concur in the proclamation. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Corman, second by Councilmember McIrvin. The council concur with the proclamation as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. And tonight, to accept the proclamation, we have our own Carrie Olson. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Thank you for this. And from the farmers who grow our food to all those dedicated shoppers and neighborhood businesses who've been there to support the Renton Farmers Market, we thank you as well. Farmers markets like ours, as you know, provide a space for communities to gather, to shop, to eat, to listen, to talk, to learn. Then we have a global pandemic and we find out we're also an essential business. So thank you for this again. And remember, everybody, if you ate today, thank a farmer.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, next up we have administrative reports.
All right, good evening, everyone. Come join the Renton Police Department at the Farmers Market on Tuesday, August 3rd, tomorrow, from 3 to 7 p.m. to celebrate National Night Out. National Night Out is a night that citizens across America can send a powerful message about neighborhood unity, awareness, safety, and police community partnerships. It is especially important to support and show our community we are united and dedicated to building a safer and more caring America. We will not be registering individual neighborhoods this year, but we would love for you to come visit our booth at the market, where you can give the game wheel a spin for fun prizes, participate in an art activity, or even better, come join Renton Police Department personnel in conversation about topics that you are curious or concerned about. In partnership with communities and schools, we are also conducting a shoe drive to benefit local students. We are asking community members to bring along a new pair of shoes to our booth during this event. These donations will be distributed to youth during communities and schools back to school event in August. We are excited to start engaging with you in person again and cannot wait to see you on August 3rd. And information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impact projects, and road closures happening this week can be found at rentonwa.gov/traffic. All projects are weather permitting, and unless otherwise noted, streets will always remain open. That is your administrative report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll open up the remote audience comment period. It remains the strong intent of the city to have public comment regularly included on our agendas. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak. You'll be called upon by city staff member. The staff member will call the speaker's name and unmute the appropriate microphone, which will send an automatic prompt to the speaker of, "You've been unmuted." This is the speaker's cue that it's their turn to speak. Please begin your comments by stating your name, city of residence, and the topic you are addressing. Speakers should be able to see a timer on the screen. Please finish up your comments when you see the time is close to expiring. Do we have anybody signed up?
Mr. Mayor, I have no one signed up in advance to speak this evening.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address council? If so, please use your computer to raise your hand. And I see no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the consent agenda. There are 8 items for council consideration.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Corman.
this time I'd like to ask if any council members would like any of these 8 items removed for individual consideration. Hearing none, I would move approval of the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven, that the consent agenda be approved as published. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. And next up, we have unfinished business. Council President Corman,
And no unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
okay, Councilmember Benedetti,
Yes, we have a report from the Utilities Committee, Mr. Mayor.
you.
Okay, Utilities Committee report, agreement for professional services with RH2 Engineering Incorporated for design of West Hill Booster Pump Station Improvements Project. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the agreement with RH2 Engineering Incorporated for the design of the West Hill Booster Pump Station Improvements Project in the amount of $216,343 to complete the design of the facility improvements and assist the city with permitting and the bidding and award process for construction of the facility improvements.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the council concur with the Utilities Committee report. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Benedetti, seconded by Councilmember O'Halloran, that the council concur with the Public Utility Committee report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Councilmember Van,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
okay, Councilmember Perez,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. And we have no legislation tonight, so we are on to new business. Council President Corman.
Yeah, wow, we're moving fast tonight, Mr. Mayor. Let's just see here. Okay, I've got 2 meetings to announce for Monday, August 9th. The first is at 6:00 p.m. It's a committee of the whole meeting via video conference. We will get an update on House Bill 1590, and that's the only item on that agenda. And then at 7 p.m., we have our regular council meeting also via video conference. And then, Mr. Mayor, I have one other item. It's not shown on the agenda, but under new business, I would also like to approach the subject of committee assignments or regional, not city committee assignments, but regional representation. And as council knows, I've been the representative for the I-405 committee for actually over 2 decades. I've been the longest serving member of that committee by far. But I only have about, I guess, 5 months left. And so I want to potentially overlap with a new representative from our city for that committee. And then I also have been representing us regionally on the Sound Transit Bus Rapid Transit Committee, which has actually been doing very, very close work with the I-405 committee. Those two organizations are working incredibly close together because the Department of Transportation is putting in a lot of infrastructure that the bus rapid transit system will use. And then I've also been representing us regionally on the East Trail, the new very popular trail that goes on where the rail used to go up the east side. And so we don't necessarily have to make any final decisions tonight, but I'd just like to let the council know that I would personally like to recommend that that Valerie O'Halloran might take over the I-405 and the BRT committee. They're so closely coupled. I think it's useful to have one representative for both of those. I've spoken with her and she's very interested. I want to be fair to the other council members though, and you know, if others are very interested and would like to do that, they could raise their hand and we could talk about it. They do take a lot of time potentially, and we're hitting a stage with I-405 where the plan is nearly completely done. It's been 2 decades in work, but the details now have to actually end up on the ground. So somebody's going to have to watch it really closely. I mean, obviously our city staff, the mayor's office will be watching it, but it'd be really good to have a council member that can really be focused on that. And then the East Rail, you know, I have to say that Councilmember McGurven, you were certainly one of my first thoughts. Valerie O'Halloran also quickly mentioned you as somebody that's, you know, could run a trail faster than any of the rest of us, 2 times over probably. Not sure. I know you're representing us regionally on some other items, so I don't know if that's one that interests you or not. And something to think about. I will say that East Side Transportation Partnership could use a steady representative. So that committee is there for anybody else on the council now, or a new council member could step up to East Side Transportation Partnership. And then kind of in the same spirit, I wanted to talk about the Regional Fire Authority representation. I sit on the Regional Fire Authority along with council members McGurven and Perez, and council member Perez is chair. When we first started the Regional Fire Authority, we had 3 council members that were actually engaged in it for about 6 years that sort of represented us. And then I think the bylaws suggested that council members would go on for a 2-year term. I think 2 years is kind of brief. It takes a little while to get up to speed. And so plus this last transition, I mean, it was nice to, and I appreciate the 3 council members sort of, you know, I think 2 of them kind of moved into other positions, so they came off. Councilmember Prince let someone else step into the spot, but the point was 3 of us came on at the same time, and that was, I mean, it was okay. And I had worked the fire department before when it was part of the city, but the point I'm trying to get to is that staggering the terms for the council members might make sense. That's what I'm trying to say. And we have an opportunity to do that with my stepping down. My seat on the RFA will open up. And I guess I'm going to suggest that maybe rather than open the other 2 seats at the exact same time, maybe we consider a change in our approach so that those seats open up maybe the year after or the year after that, or, you know, just different times. so we should still have sort of a rigorous way that we rotate through and everybody gets a chance. But I just would suggest we don't have 3 change over at the same time again. Anyways, I care about everybody else's opinion on this. But I was just going to ask that if, with council's permission, maybe I could ask the mayor's office to consider that and make a proposal, if that seems fair.
Yeah, I believe that's part of the bylaws of the RFA, I believe, if I'm not mistaken here. So that would have to be changed at that level.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, Councilmember Perez.
Yeah, no, Mr. Mayor, the appointment of council members that will represent the RFA is actually a city policy. And it's within the council to modify that policy, within the council authority to modify the policy.
The length of the policy or the length of the term is also, it's not part of the RFA bylaws?
No, it's a council decision.
Gotcha, okay.
This is a city council decision.
Well, this is the right group to talk about it then.
Yeah. And so I'll just leave that there for tonight. We don't have to decide, but I wanted council to know that that's something I was considering. And I do want to stress that I think it is important that all the council members get a chance to serve on the RFA. Our destinies are so intertwined. The RFA is Renton, and we're part of the RFA. There's no question. So it's good for all council members to have a chance. I'm just suggesting that we don't necessarily switch all 3 at the same time. Anyways, I guess I can't really remember. I think we've always done these sorts of regional representations somewhat informally. And I don't want to end up accidentally having meetings, non-public meetings discussing it. I'd like to hear if there's, I guess, maybe from Councilmember O'Halloran, whether she's still interested in the 405 and BRT assignment, and then perhaps if other council members would like to let me know whether they think that's a good suggestion or not.
So Council President Corman, I'm not sure this is the right venue for this. Frankly, I think that probably the best thing is now that you've at least done the courtesy of notifying everybody. This is probably a more appropriate conversation, not during a council meeting, I would say.
Okay.
So yeah, why don't we, I know that both of those committees that you're on are extremely time consuming, and we definitely appreciate your lengthy service. They were buggies back then when you started, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. And I mostly just wanted to get it public that I wanted to have the council considering this. And yes, of course, Armando, you and I have spoken many times about, it just, so I've been certainly, treated with respect on the I-405 committee. I've been a member of the team, and we've gotten a lot of great support from all the other cities. But I will stress, like anytime we're doing regional representation, I mean the other representatives have taken an oath in their cities, and we've taken oaths in our cities, and everybody's trying to compete for what seems like a shrinking number of dollars constantly. And so as we get to where we're starting to put down pavement, there will always be sort of value engineering that's done to save money here and there, and we just need to make sure that that we're treated equally, that we're not that we're not out horsepowered, and that our that we don't end up with a section that's not as good or equitable with other parts of the corridor. So a lot of work still to be done. Anyway, so if somebody's interested in that assignment, just be aware there's a lot of homework. All right, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have for new business. I appreciate council's indulgence to take time to go through that.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Council Member Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning and Development Committee will meet on Monday, August 9th at 4:45 p.m. by video conference. We have 5 items on the agenda. Sunset Terrace Multifamily Tax Exemption Agreement, Docket 16 Group B Update, Emergency Interim Zoning Control Future Code Amendments for Ordinance 5996, 6012, 6019, and 6022 briefings, Housing Action Plan Update, and Emerging Issues in CED. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember McGurven.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on August 9th at 4 p.m., the Finance Committee will be meeting via video conference. We have 4 items on the agenda. The first is the 2021 Summer Festival event fee waivers. Second is Washington Parks and Recreation Association Summer Experiences and Enrichment for Kids grant. The third is Digital Communications Specialist hire at Step D. And fourth is vouchers. And that's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Benedetti.
I have no new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Van.
No new business, Mr. Mayor, but I wanted to add to what President Corman was mentioning briefly, and just want to thank him for giving us notice. Very much appreciated. And suggestion would be for us to discuss it in committee of the whole, like we did last time. Very much appreciated the notice. Also, I wanted to ask, I know we did a memo, the administration did a memo regarding the Black Lives Matter mural, but just wanted to know if there's any quick update since then, if you do have, Mr. Mayor.
About the mural, I know that staff is working on it. I believe they're fast tracking it. I can certainly find out if there's any updates since the memo and get them to you ASAP.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Councilmember Perez.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Let's see here. What's the wish of the council at this time?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Council President Corman.
I move that the council meeting recess into executive session for 40 minutes to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate pursuant to RCW 42.30.110(1)(b). No official action will be taken, and the council meeting will adjourn when the executive session is adjourned.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven. The council go into executive session for 40 minutes to discuss property and real estate acquisition. No action will be taken, and we will adjourn immediately afterwards. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, we are adjourned to executive session.